AGA victory that turned heads across junior golf. And then came Coral Springs, a brutal 3-for-1 playoff, where he drained a clutch birdie to snatch the final U.S. junior qualifying spot. It wasn't given, it was taken with nerves of steel. By the time he teed it up in Dallas, the buzz was deafening. Golf Monthly had dubbed him a dangerous wild card. NBC's analysts highlighted how his form had matured. Every camera lens was aimed squarely at him. Every swing, a headline waiting to happen. For Charlie, this was both a dream and a test. But as he stepped to the first tee, eyes locked forward and Tiger trailing just steps behind, the tone was clear. He wasn't here to be watched. He was here to compete. The walk, the demeanor, the calm, it all looked right. All the ingredients for something special were there. But no one, not even Tiger, could have predicted what followed next. By mid-morning on the 21st of July, the buzz had turned into stunned silence. Charlie Woods, after months of steady progress and hype, opened his U.S. junior amateur campaign with a shocking 81-11 over par, leaving him tied for 242nd out of 264 players, from contender to long shot in just 18 holes. It didn't take long for the wheels to wobble. On the front nine, Charlie couldn't find fairways. Off the tee, he was uncharacteristically erratic drives, leaking left, pushed right, or landing short in thick rough. The result? 2 double bogeys and a string of bogeys that ballooned his score early. What started as a nervous stumble became a full-blown slide. Golf Monthly described it bluntly. An uphill task before day 2 even began. There was no sugarcoating this one. By the 5th hole, the gallery energy had shifted. The cheers turned into hushed murmurs. Phones came down. Cameras pointed less frequently. Everyone was watching, but now with concern, not curiosity. On the back 9, there was the slightest flicker of fight. Charlie carded 2 birdies, including a smooth 12-foot putt at the par 3 13th. But by then, the damage had been done. The rhythm never returned. The confidence didn't resurface. 1 step forward, 2 steps back. What made it harder to ignore was the body language not just Charlie's, but Tiger's. As reported by Yahoo Sports, the defining visual was this. Charlie glances up at Tiger, then back down again. A quiet, weighty moment. No words, just the shared realization that things were spiraling. Charlie walked off the 18th green without celebration, without acknowledgement. Just a slow walk back to the clubhouse, cap pulled low. A round that started with fireworks ended in near silence. This wasn't just a bad day, it was a full-on unraveling. It's one thing to watch a rough round unfold in real time. It's another to break down the numbers afterward and realize just how bad it really was. NBC Sports and WFAA didn't mince words. Charlie Woods had one of the worst statistical performances of the day at Trinity Forest. Start with the driver. Charlie hit just 3 of 14 fairways, among the lowest in the entire field. And when you're playing a championship setup, starting every hole from the rough, or worse, you're already digging a hole. The fairway stats alone told the story of a round that never got started. And it didn't get any better around the greens. Scrambling the ability to save par after missing a green was nearly non-existent. Time after time, Charlie missed the target, then compounded the mistake with either a poor chip or a missed short putt. His scrambling percentage hovered in the danger zone, putting even bogey in doubt more often than not. Then came the flat stick. Putts per hole, a full stroke above the field average. On fast, firm greens like these, that number is the difference between staying in contention and sinking fast. NBC pointed out that Charlie had 35 putts while most players inside the cut line had 28 or fewer. And momentum? 4 double bogeys don't just hurt the scorecard, they shatter any attempt to build rhythm. Each time it looked like he might stabilize, another big number dragged him deeper into the leaderboard basement. In total, Charlie finished 12 shots behind the projected +2 cut line for match play. 12. That's not a stumble, it's a collapse. By the numbers, he didn't just struggle, he was outclassed. And that cut line? It got further away with every single swing. As Charlie Woods walked off the 18th green at Trinity Forest, the cameras didn't just follow him, they panned immediately to the man trailing behind. Tiger Woods, hat low, arms crossed, eyes fixed straight ahead. No words, no reaction. Throughout the round, Tiger walked every step inside the ropes. But what stood out wasn't his presence, it was his silence. In past appearances, we've seen him crouch beside Charlie, offer tips, fist bumps, even laughter. But on this day, the usual support system was eerily quiet. There were no pep talks, no whispered encouragements, just the sound of gallery murmurs and cleats crunching on Bermuda grass. Multiple reporters picked up on it. Yahoo Sports described Tiger as visibly tense but composed, while Golf Monthly noted his expression never changed even after Charlie's fourth double bogey. That stillness, that unreadable look, said more than any words ever could. And maybe that's what made it all feel heavier. For once, it wasn't just about a struggling teenager on a big stage, it was about what this moment symbolized for them both. A generational torch, flickering in the wind, the greatest golfer alive watching his son falter in front of the world. Not as a coach, not as a cheerleader, just watching. Commentators speculated that the pressure may finally be cutting both ways. Tiger has done everything to shield Charlie from the expectations. But how do you escape a name like Woods when it's stitched on your bag and your dad is 3 feet behind you every step of the way? And Charlie? He glanced back at Tiger after multiple bogeys, a look not of panic, but of uncertainty, as if asking silently, "What now?" Sometimes, silence says more than any outburst ever could. Day 2 at Trinity Forest brought clearer skies, lighter winds, and one last shot at redemption for Charlie Woods. And to his credit, he came out swinging. His second round, a 74 plus 3, was tighter, steadier, more composed. The erratic double bogeys were gone. The body language looked firmer. But in the unforgiving world of championship golf, improvement doesn't always equal survival. The final tally? Plus 14 across 2 days. Charlie missed the match play cut by a staggering 12 shots. The line stood at plus 2, and his name wasn't even close. NBC Sports called it one of the most high-profile exits of the week. Not just because of his last name, but because so many believed his game was finally ready to speak for itself. That belief didn't come from hype alone. His Coral Springs playoff earlier this summer, where he birdied the final hole under intense pressure, showed a level of poise beyond his years. That was the version of Charlie Woods the golf world hoped to see this week. Focused, fearless, free. Instead, they saw a player still figuring it all out, in the harshest spotlight imaginable. And make no mistake, the spotlight isn't going anywhere. Every round he plays, every tournament he enters will be broadcast, analyzed, dissected. He doesn't just carry clubs, he carries a legacy. That's not a fair burden for any 15-year-old, but it's his reality now. Still, there's something to be said about showing up after a collapse. There's something in that second round 74, the grind, the effort, the refusal to quit that speaks louder than the scoreboard. Greatness isn't built in highlight reels, it's built in recoveries, in setbacks, in silence. Is this the making of a champion or the start of a brutal reality check? Either way, Charlie's story is it was the kind of moment junior golf rarely sees: a packed leaderboard, perfect conditions, and a name so familiar it made every head turn. The cameras weren't just rolling, they were searching for history. And then, in the space of a few hours, Charlie Woods delivered it. The son of one of the greatest golfers to ever live stepped onto the first tee, and by the time he walked off the 18th green, the golf world had a brand new headline. This wasn't just another junior win. This was the breakthrough. From the very start of the tournament, Charlie's game looked sharp, controlled, and fearless. Each swing carried that same effortless tempo fans remember from his father's prime, yet there was a distinct stamp of individuality. He strung together birdies, stayed patient through the inevitable challenges, and closed with a dominant under-par finish. It wasn't a squeaker, it was a statement. Securing victory by multiple strokes against a field stacked with the best young players in the country sent one message loud and clear: Charlie Woods isn't here to blend in, he's here to win. The ripple effect was immediate. Overnight, his position in the junior world rankings rocketed upward, vaulting him into the conversation for the sport's most prestigious upcoming events. For any teenager, this would be career-changing. For the son of Tiger Woods, it meant stepping into a spotlight that had been waiting for him since the day he first picked up a club. Tournament directors took notice, invitations to elite championships started coming in, and fans began to speculate about what could come next. And yet, beyond the numbers, beyond the trophies, the real story was in the atmosphere. Crowds followed every hole, media lined up for quotes, and fellow players felt the weight of his presence. In one weekend, Charlie didn't just win a title, he shifted the narrative. For years, the question was if he could ever emerge from his father's shadow. Now, after this breakthrough performance, the golf world had its answer. The celebration had barely settled when another voice entered the conversation. And it wasn't just any voice. It was Jack Nicklaus, the Golden Bear himself, a man who knows more than most about what it means to dominate golf and live under the relentless eye of the public. Where others were cheering, Nicklaus brought something different, a warning. His words didn't come from cynicism or doubt, but from a lifetime of experience watching the game, the fame, and the weight that comes with both. The road ahead is tough, Nicklaus cautioned. He wasn't talking about competition alone, he meant the invisible battles, the kind that can't be measured on a scorecard. For the child of a sporting icon, the journey is never just about skill. It's about enduring constant comparisons, impossible expectations, and a spotlight that never fades. These challenges, Nicklaus knows, can break even the most talented young athletes if they aren't prepared. Nicklaus's warning wasn't abstract. It came from a deeply personal place. Decades earlier, his own son Gary was thrust into fame at just 16, plastered on the cover of Sports Illustrated with the bold label, "The Next Nicklaus." Instead of launching a legendary career, that moment became a turning point, and not for the better. The pressure, the endless attention, the sense that every swing was under scrutiny, it all became too much. Gary eventually stepped away from the competitive grind, proof that talent alone doesn't protect you from the weight of expectation. That's why Nicklaus sees Charlie's moment as both inspiring and dangerous. The victory shows his potential, the attention shows the challenge ahead. And in today's era where social media amplifies every highlight, every mistake, and every opinion, the intensity is magnified beyond what Gary ever faced. Charlie's rise is undeniable, but so is the spotlight. Nicklaus's words are both a caution and a gift, a reminder that the path to greatness isn't just walked with a golf club, but with resilience. In golf, pressure can be invisible, but for Charlie Woods, it's impossible to ignore. Every swing he takes, every putt he makes is watched, recorded, and compared to one of the greatest players in history, his father. And father noun. For most juniors, the gallery might include parents and a handful of friends. For Charlie, it's a wall of cameras, reporters, and fans all waiting to see if he's the next Tiger. That expectation doesn't just follow him, it surrounds him. In the modern era, the spotlight burns hotter than ever. When Gary Nicklaus faced pressure in the 82nd, the media cycle had pauses. There were breaks between tournaments, moments to breathe. Today, the coverage is constant, fueled by social media feeds, viral clips, and instant commentary from millions of voices online. One great shot can trend worldwide in minutes. One bad round can do the same. There's no place to hide, and no chance to quietly develop in the shadows. Nicklaus himself has acknowledged that this is an entirely new battlefield. He's quick to praise Charlie's beautiful golf swing and poise under pressure, but he also questions whether the teenager can truly grasp the magnitude of what's ahead. It's not just about hitting fairways, it's about learning to navigate an environment where critics, comparisons, and expectations never rest. The mental game now extends far beyond the golf course. The irony is that Charlie's own success fuels the very challenge he must overcome. The more he wins, the bigger the headlines. The bigger the headlines, the greater the scrutiny. It's a cycle that can inspire or exhaust, depending on how it's managed. For Charlie, mastering his craft will be only half the battle. The other half will be building the mental resilience to carry the Woods name without letting it crush him. And in the eyes of those who've walked this path before, that might be the greatest test of all. For Tiger Woods, this isn't just about raising a champion, it's about raising his son. He knows better than anyone how unforgiving the world of golf can be, how quickly praise can turn into criticism, and how the demands of the game can consume every part of a life. That's why, even in the glow of Charlie's victory, Tiger's message has stayed consistent. Let Charlie find his own way. Winning is important, but loving the game is essential. Tiger's role is a delicate balancing act. He's a mentor with unmatched experience, but also a father who understands the risks of pushing too hard too soon. Instead of chasing every tournament, Tiger carefully chooses where Charlie competes, weighing the challenge of the field against the benefits of rest and growth. It's a strategy built not just for short-term wins, but for building a career that lasts. Shielding Charlie from unnecessary distractions is part of the plan. While the spotlight is impossible to escape completely, Tiger works to control its intensity. Interviews are limited, media opportunities are selective, and the emphasis is always on preparation and improvement rather than publicity. For Tiger, protecting his son from burnout is as much a priority as helping him shave strokes off his game. At the heart of it all is a shared understanding between father and son. They've walked fairways together since Charlie was old enough to grip a club, and they've faced pressure-packed moments as a team. But now, as Charlie steps into the competitive world on his own, Tiger's role is shifting from leading every step to letting him take the lead. It's a transition filled with pride, caution, and the hope that the lessons Tiger learned in the toughest moments of his career will give Charlie the tools to write his own story. The victory may be in the books, but for Charlie Woods, the real journey is just beginning.